Hello, Angela Meiritz-Reid here, Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Christchurch, New Zealand. Today I'm sharing with you how I created this card, which is for this week's Global Design Project number 325 challenge. And it's a colour challenge, and we're using the PP colours, which are polished pink here, pale papaya and pool party I've used in the background. So we'll get started. I've got a basic white card base, and then next I've layered up this black and white paper, which is from the Pattern Party DSP. That, if you haven't seen it in the catalogue, I'll just grab mine and show you. It's a host paper, and here it is here, pattern paper. So for New Zealanders it's $38. You can use that as your rewards, and it's a value of 64. There are 48 sheets of this beautiful paper, which is coloured on one side and black and white on the other. I love it. So if you'd like to find more about that, just contact me. I'd love to hear from you. And then the next layer we have is just a white layer. All these measurements will be on my blog. There'll be a PDF available to download. Right, so I'll just get myself sorted. So I'm going to start by doing the background here, just with the pool party. So what I tend to do with this is just using my blending brush and just pop a bit onto here, just to so I don't take too much all at once, although as you can see part of it will be behind the flower, so you don't have to be too particular, but I tend to start in the middle and work out. And it does take a bit to build the colour up. It's just a matter of being a little bit patient, which sometimes I'm not, and then that's always when I tend to get a big blob somewhere. So I am just going to take this slowly. You can see it, and it does soak into the paper as you go. And I just want it to be spread right around, so I'll just keep on starting from the middle and then taking it out. And also I'm going to emboss the background, so that does give you a bit of movement, so you don't have to be too critical with the colour. Maybe a couple more times. As you can see, it is a bit of a slow burn, but I love blending. And these are great brushes, Stampin' Up brushes. Spread that out to the edges a bit. I think that's okay. Right, so now what I'm going to do is just emboss it with the Tasteful Textile embossing folder, which is one of my absolute favourite embossing folders. It just gives your card just a little something, so I'll just pop it in my embossing shade. There, it looks okay. And then what I've done is flicked the background, and I'm using the dark basic black Stampin' blends, and using the brush end. I find you can use the Stampin' Right markers, but I just love it. These are quite juicy, so it does give you a lot of easy flick. So it just depends on how much you want. Might have got a little bit carried away, but, so try not to do that, because you can't undo what you've done. And so what I tend to do as I'm going along is layer these things up, just to get things off my desk. I don't have a huge desk space, so and it is easier when you've already made the card once. I don't recommend it. I usually go ahead and do it when I'm creating for the first time, and then sometimes think I aren't quite exactly where I want them, and I'm having to try and get them off. I think that'll be okay. And so what I do is just match those and match those, so if that makes sense. So, and I've done that with the DSP underneath. Right, so that's all done, so we'll set that aside. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I've got a reasonable size scrap of white paper, and I'm going to do the blending on that. So I've got the pale papaya, and this probably matters less because we'll be die cutting it, so when you die cut it, it won't be so particular whether you've got it all even or not. You want enough. So I've got one of those big ones that is totally in the pale papaya, and a small one, so yeah, I will need a bit more coloured. And I'm not going to speed this video up. I just want you can fast forward if you like when you're watching it, but if you're crafting along or watching, you can actually see how long it does take to make the card. So I think about there, and then I do want some of those, really only need one of those, that should be okay, and one big inner and one small inner, so that should be about right. So I'll just take a little bit more of that up so that I can blend that into the next colour. It is sometimes a little bit hit and miss, but that's okay. That's what crafting's all about, isn't it? Just having a bit of fun. And then I'm going to do this with the polished pink. And I'll easier if I work from here. Do the same. So if I try and keep it about the same sort of amount that I've covered on the cardstock, it should be okay. And I'm not sure if I did mention this before, but it does soak into the paper after a wee while, so it does I think even up the blending a little bit when it's soaked in. It doesn't really take too long, and I do tend to keep the brushes for particular colours. Keep this for the pinks, that other one for blues and greeny sort of colours, but they wash up really easily. You just use a bit of dishwashing liquid, leave them to dry. Right, hopefully that is enough. If not, I can always do a little bit more. So what I'll do is I'll bring my machine in so you can see how I'm placing them on here. So I've got one big one there that's going to be up the top, and then I've got some of these. There's only one of those, but that's okay. You can always use these for another day. And then I've got a couple that are sort of going into that colour. So about there, I think that. And then I'll just pop these. I'll need a dark. These are the inners. Dark one and a big one and a small one rather. And I'll just die cut these through. just pop these on to here, so I can check. Oh, that one's a bit lighter up the top, but actually I like that. So I can work out what else I need. Oops. Just flick those everywhere. Even on the floor. And then I'll need one of the big pale papaya ones, and then another one of these blended ones, and then I want the I want a full one of those too, so I might just pop that there, and just like a little bit of a jigsaw, doesn't matter too much. And yeah, so I just need one more of those smaller flowers, so I'll pop that through in a moment. So lots of choices with the blending, lots of colourways that just choose your colours that look good together. It's not quite, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same as before. Sometimes you get a bit stuck on that, wanting to be exact, but it doesn't have to at all. It's all about being handmade. Right, and then just one more of those smaller ones there. That should be about right. So now, all my flowers, some pieces, ready to go. So there's still bits, and I can die cut some more if I want. Okay, so I've got this here, and then these are mounted with dimensionals just to give a bit of oomph. So we'll start with this one here. Another thing I did too on these is splashed a bit of water, but that's not totally necessary if you don't like that look. So just a dimensional on the back there, and this one here, just bring that down. We should have really needed another darker pink one, but that's okay. There, and then so it's going to be more pale papaya, this one. And the big one. So there are lots of choices of flowers in this Pierce Blooms die set. They're gorgeous. Probably haven't used it as much as I would have liked. Hopefully it'll stay in longer. And then I've got these centres here and some little flowers. So I'm just going to layer those up just with glue onto the centres. Glue decides to run out. That's always the way, isn't it? Just squirt a little bit, don't need a lot, so just choose the centres that work the best. It's quite a bright one there, pop that on there, and I need some little pink ones. Oh, I probably should have cut some half and half ones, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. It's going to be a little bit brighter. Pop that on there. And then I just got these tiny little flowers, one down here and a pink one up here. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of the dimensional just to pop on the center of those. Just doesn't really matter. And this one, hopefully I can get it so you can't see it, the other side, and then just up there. Great. So next thing I'm going to do is do the sentiment. Now, happy birthday, that is a new one, and it's out of this Special Moments stamp set, which is a celebration offer at the moment. So it's got lots of beautiful sentiments in that one. So I've got a little bit of black cardstock, and with the photopolymer stamps I always use the foam, a bit of foam on the background, just helps something a little bit softer behind. I'm going to trim it down so I don't have to get too straight, but hopefully it will be not too bad. And then some white embossing powder. What is quite a good idea is when you've got these all out, just stamp a few so you've got them on the ready when you're making your next card. I always love that surprise when you open up a stamp set and you've tucked in some extra sentiments. Just saves a bit of time. Right, I'm just going to heat set this. And I know I've shown this wee tip before, but there are a few little white blobs in there, so I just use my Stampin' white marker just to go over those. Just makes it look a little bit cleaner. And it's good to go, and it looks reasonably straight, so that's a bonus. But I'm just going to trim it down just to make it so it doesn't cover up too much of the card. Hopefully that is, I think I've now made it a little bit crooked. I'll just try and straighten. It's a good thing about this wee trimmer, it does take off the tiniest little slithers if you need to. Right, okay, so I'm going to pop that over top here with a black bow, and so I've got some twine here. So usually about 32 centimeters makes quite a good size bow, give or take. I usually just pop it over both fingers just so I can make sure I get them about even. Made them a bit big this time, but can easily get a bit smaller. Oops. Just make it slightly slightly smaller. And then I'm just going to get a glue dot. I think glue dots work really well. And I tend to, so I don't get extra height, I'm just going to tuck that glue dot in on the flat bit there by that flower. Pop that on there. Let's get that how I, oops. Mind of its own. That's okay once I get the sentiment on top. So I'm just going to pop that through there, and I think I might even add some dimensionals. So I'm just going to tuck that on, pop that on there, so that will keep that in place, and put another one on top so it gives me the same height, and one here. So that's double and double. And I'm just going to take that straight up through there. Yay! So far so good. And I'm just going to trim that off a little bit. Trim that off about here. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to add, I've got these matte black dots. Thought that would just tie in with the black here and the black there. And here's my handy dandy take your pick tool. If you don't have one, I totally recommend. It's the best thing I have in my arsenal of tools. Otherwise, sometimes I think, oh, I faff around trying to find the perfect spot, but I'm sure it doesn't matter. So 5 of those on there. So here we have it. Looks slightly, ever so slightly different, but not too much. And yeah, it was lots of fun. And I don't think that actually took too long to create in real time. So hope you enjoyed watching my video, and I'd love to see you create something using these colours for this week's challenge. Thanks everybody. Bye.